So Mom, making a little family video here. What can you tell me about the neighborhood that we're driving into?
So this is where we, when your dad and I got married and you two were born, this is where we lived. It's called the Village of Stittsville. And we lived in a tiny little area in the village of Stittsville called Amberwood Village, which is one of those divisions where houses were just going up, just being built.
This is where when I was born, this is where you lived.
Yep.
This was my first childhood house that we're going to see.
Yes. And we moved in 96. So when we moved, you were 6, Andrew was 3. Oh, isn't this nice? One thing I remember about Amberwood is like it was
at the stop sign, turn right onto Trailway Circle.
Like it was just houses and just very, houses, like no commerce, no local strip mall, houses, kind of a little lake and beautiful walking trails. That was our home, and here we are in the neighborhood. And the neighborhood, every street
in 500
had,
meters, turn right onto Deer Moss Trail.
The names of the streets were like animals or trees. Like this is Lone Meadow Trail, Trailway Circle.
And the name of the street we grew up on was?
Deer Moss Trail. And here's Lone Meadow Road. So everything referred to trees or animals or both. Oh yeah. So here's our next door neighbor, the Powells, Doug Powell.
This was their house? You still remember?
Yep. Oh yeah. Do you remember the big rock? This was the kids' bus stop. And I guess he's taken the big rock away. But honey, the second one is ours. The second house is ours.
The destination is on your left.
Wow, look at that hedge.
Right.
This wasn't here before. How private. Our old house is surrounded by hedges that, how tall would you say that is, Daniel? What's how tall that is? Like
12 or 15 feet. I mean, that's huge.
easily.
Yeah, at least
You know what?
15 feet.
This house with the red car, that was our house. And we had the kind of little, over there you can see little kind of nice brick leading up to the front door. We did that. So up there, honey, your room was that one up on the right, and the nursery / Anne's
Above the
room.
garage on
Yep,
the right there.
yep, above the garage was Andrew's. This was our next door neighbor.
The colors are the same, still looks the same.
Oh yeah. No, it looks the same except for that enormous hedge.
Wow.
So around here, yeah, we had other nice neighbors. This was the retired colonel. I'm trying to think of his name. Doug something. Super nice guy.
Who is the guy? I have a childhood memory of, remember it was Halloween?
Yep.
And there was a neighbor who was dressed up as a scarecrow.
Oh.
And sitting perfectly, do you remember this, Mom? Sitting perfectly still.
Yeah, that was the first house.
And then
The Powells.
I recognized that it was a human playing a scarecrow. You must have thought it was just a scarecrow.
Yep.
Because then the neighbor, it was Doug, quietly goes, boo.
Yep.
And you just shrieked.
Quietly comes to life. Oh, I know.
And that's one of my first memories is that is you shrieking as I wait for my candy.
Thought he was, honey, it looks the same. I mean, yeah. And they always use the same models. So say that one is also exactly like our house and stuff. This one of the retired Blue Bombers, Pat something lived there with his wife, Elizabeth. And I always thought the first house was beautiful. I remember when they had an open house sign, I thought, wow, that's such a pretty house. But yeah. And then, honey, this is our mailbox, like right at the corner here at the stop sign. We had community mailboxes.
So you walk to the corner for the mail?
Every day.
Is it gone now? I don't see a mailbox.
No, it's going to be right over there. And there was a beautiful, like, koi pond and stuff behind it. We wouldn't really remember that. But there, we all had to go. All these streets had to go and get our mail there. And behind, honey, there's, oh, look at that. Buses in Stittsville. Well, I'll be Stittsville's buses. Like behind, honey, there's paths, koi ponds.
There was no bus before.
So pretty. Oh, heck no. No buses in Stittsville. This is innovative. A bus to go to the city. A bus to Ottawa. I feel like one of those people on, the Beverly Hillbillies. Well, I'll be Uncle Jed, a bus to Ottawa. Like this is, I can't underestimate this. Stittsville's, but you see how cool this is, honey? You get your mail. And Aunt Sue and Tony have this too. If they get a package from Amazon, when they open theirs, it'll say like number 174, and they open it and there's their package. Cool, eh?
Should we step outside and take a quick look at the koi pond you were talking about?
I'm not sure what, definitely on a bus route. I'm not sure what I wonder if there's a...
It'll be 2 minutes. I'll put the flashers on. We'll take 2 minutes.
It's not,
Little trip down memory lane. Yeah, I got it.
So what I would do is I would put you guys in the carriage, or you were in nursery school, I'd put Anne in the carriage, wheel them down every afternoon, and without a word of a lie, highlight of my day. And then I'd go for a tiny walk. Look at this, a little pond, like, you know, sweet little, like it was, I thought this was so pretty, you know what I mean? Like I'd go for a little walk and walk back. Like, look at this.
What are those called again? Those types of
Cattails?
cattails, that's the name.
Bulrushes, yeah, very pretty. Yeah, and the little path, honey.
I do remember the cattails now. Yeah, this is bringing me back too.
Yeah.
But you grew to love Winnipeg, didn't you?
Still do. As Willie Jefferson would say, come on down to Winnipeg. No kidding.
Before I grabbed the camera, you're just saying something funny about the first days we moved to Winnipeg.
So the first week was what they called the storm of the century. Look at that, a spider. You know, people said to me, oh, good luck, like all my Ottawa friends, my Stittsville friends, oh, good luck, oh boy, you're gonna need new ski jackets, which we did. Good luck, like we were going to Alaska. I'm not kidding. And it was cold, and that was exact time when, I think it was Fountain Tire made that commercial where the guys were on the plane. Oh, I'm gonna sit with you guys all the way to Winnipeg.
They were
or
joking
all the way
about
to Hawaii. Hawaii? And then it does the commercial, then it comes back. So gate 31A was Hawaii, gate 31B was one of them, Winnipeg. The guy, sort of desperately, we're going to Winnipeg.
Gate 31A was Hawaii, and gate 31B was
Winnipeg.
going to Winnipeg.
And I used to always
That was a
think,
family joke. Going
yep,
to Winnipeg.
It sure was. We always said that because it meant Winnipeg, the opposite of Hawaii. Paradise, warmth, beauty. And then there's Winnipeg. Like, that was a family joke for years.
We moved to Winnipeg and it was like the storm of the century. It was like the
week-
most snow they'd
that
seen
week,
in years and years and
We
years.
went to the Santa Claus parade and everyone kept stamping their feet and going, man, it's cold. And I kept whispering to your dad, but it's a dry cold, which is the expression. There's even a theater group, Dry Cold Productions. And I always said, like, what does that mean? Like, cold is cold. Oh, this is nice, honey.
This is nice, isn't it, Mom? Well, should we move on? Should we,
should
continue our drive?
Yeah. Is that still filming?
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to tell you something.
What? Not for the camera?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Nothing bad, guys. Nothing bad.
Thanks for joining us. Let's see what my mom really has to say once I turn the camera off. And your maiden name was?
Monahan, with a G.
And the Monahans have a long history in this part of Ottawa, don't they, Mom?
Oh, yes.
What can you tell me about the Monahan family that you came from?
My grandpa, Daniel, who you were named for, Dad's dad, like they came over from Ireland. His grandpa's ancestors, Grandpa Daniel's ancestors came over and they settled in this part of Ottawa and they were farmers. They were, their profession was agricultural and what this Hertz guy is doing. And they settled in this area, and indeed to this day, Grandpa's surviving sibling, the youngest, Uncle John, still lives here. And they settled here, and they lived here. The family homestead was here. And if you can believe it, this is hard for people to picture, but my dad walked to high school. Walked miles. He went to school in Ottawa called Nepean High School. And if anyone wants to Google map and see between wherever this is in Nepean High School, honey, like
turn
that
left
was
onto Fallowfield Road.
It was far.
Oh yeah. And that's what rural kids had to do.
In the winter? Oh, that'd be rough.
Yeah.
Those old jokes people say, oh, when I was a kid I walked 10 miles through the snow. It wasn't a joke for him, was it?
No, for some people. What was I going to say? Because Grandpa born in 1920, he would have been going to high school in the 30s. And that's how it went. But, again, they loved living here.
Forest.
The little town of Richmond, they went in to do their, there was a bakery there that's still there. And, just very charming little western suburb on the outside of Ottawa.
Well, we just had a little family reunion the past couple days. Met a lot of people with the last name Monahan, some of which I barely know. I mean, it was just a gathering of a lot of Monahans. And there's so many Monahans in this part of Ottawa that the next place we're about to visit, I've never been here. I just learned that it existed on this trip. A little place called Monahan Forest. So your family, Mom, has a little forest named after it.
I know, and you know.
Did you know that too?
I mean, I did and I didn't. I'm sure, or I believe I was told that at some point, but I'm not sure when it happened. I'm pretty sure that would have been maybe the idea, let's say, of Uncle John.
So just across from, I guess, the family forest is this place, Valley View Little Animal Farm. Wow. I don't know if this is a petting zoo or what this is, but I think. Is your first time here, Mom?
Oh, yeah.
Hazards, falling rocks, steep cliffs.
Really? Look at this one. Oh, we'll have to look out for that.
I guess our family was adventurous, huh?
Quicksand?
Quicksand.
You can see why they wanted to give us the forest.
Yeah. They had an area with falling cliffs and quicksands, and
According to the sign.
no one was crazy enough to take it but my ancestors.
Imagine, honey, Monahan Forest, my family. Imagine. I tell you.
Here's a question for you, Mom. What's one thing you learned from your dad? What's one thing you learned from your mom?
Grandma loved to read. She loved, like, good old the great old movies and movie stars and stuff. And yeah, Grandma, when I was very young, used to take me to movies with her. I mean, very young, like under 10. And yeah, she loved old movies. And, we bonded a lot over TV shows. And Grandma watched The Sopranos. Grandma watched lots of shows I watched. We would talk about that. She loved her police dramas and stuff. So did I. And also Mom, and everybody would know this, like, loved beautiful clothes. And I've always enjoyed that too. And I love seeing women dressed up. And Mom was always dressed up. She was, again, like my dad, like, you never really saw her in shorts or jeans when she was younger. She was very beautifully dressed for her jobs.
Mosquitoes are bad. Let's walk and talk.
They are.
How about your dad?
Dad, I wonder if I got my love of sports on TV from my dad, who just, we used to watch hockey games together. I always loved hockey. I still do at this age. And I love football. And I joked when COVID came, I kept joking to people who knew my dad. My dad would never believe this, but I'm now regularly following American football because Dad loved it. I don't know if I got that from Dad, but maybe I did. And that's certainly something I love. Love watching football and hockey, which were two of his favorites too. But other things too. And Dad was very respectful of people and, loved the Irish. And just really, the Monahan family, would visit Ireland, and they would just really have a love for our love for the father country. I don't know whether to call it the mother country or the father country, but, I think we all kind of grew up like loving Ireland and just knowing what a charming, warm place and people it is.
We met more mosquitoes than Monahans in the forest today, but
I thought you were going to say then Monahans all week.
well, maybe that too.
Quite. But we did not meet the quicksand, and that's just okay with me.